This is Things I Wish I Knew Before I Became a Helldiver. This is just a random assortment of tips in no particular order for both new Helldivers and hopefully veteran Helldivers alike of things you may not have known that you should know. Tip number 1. All samples are shared across all Helldivers. You do not have to collect them in order to get them at the end of the mission. As long as somebody extracts with them, they are shared across all Helldivers. There's no need to kick or slaughter your allies in order to get them. You will share them, and it is awesome. Please, please don't execute people to get the samples. Number 2, when you have the mission to move the satellite into the right position where you have to look at the screen and you have to look at the satellite and then move it, that is so hard to coordinate between allies and it's frustrating to run back and forth and try and get it to match perfectly. But did you know that it actually makes a key sound when you get it in the right position? So all you have to do is turn your volume up a little bit and listen for the distinct sound and you'll know you have it in a right position even if someone else isn't telling you where to move it to. Number 3, level matters for almost nothing. Granted, if you're under level 20 and level 9s, you might not have all the anti-tank options you need to be able to take out the bigger enemies, but for the most part, levels just are accumulated from playing the game. That means even if you see someone level 100, that doesn't mean they know what they're doing. And vice versa, if you see someone level 5, that doesn't mean that they don't know what they're doing. Don't judge someone based on their level. Tip number 4, some of the guides are outdated. This is for people who started playing in the last month or so. If you look at old guides, they will tell you things like the flamethrower might not be worth bringing or the orbital gas strike are useless because of some old bugs that have now been fixed. So when you're reading a guide, make sure it's updated with the most recent balance patch information because their information may be out of date. Number 5, and this one's embarrassing because this is my own personal tip from something that I learned. When you first start playing, up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see a number that changes depending on how many people are in the mission. 5, 10, 15, 20, and you'll see that decrease throughout the mission. That's your reinforcement budget. That's how many times you can respawn if you die. I thought it was how many stratagems you could call in, so I stopped calling in stratagems so I wouldn't rob my team of the ability to call in all their cool toys. You have unlimited number of stratagems, so use them. It is important to note that there are a few stratagems that do have a limited number of uses, but it will tell you up front, such as the exosuits or the orbital laser. Number 6, just because someone is calling in extract doesn't mean that they're going to leave right away. Even if you're halfway across the map, don't kick them just for calling in extract. It does take some time for the extract to come in, as well as it will wait there as long as need be for people to come and get in there. It's possible that they're just trying to save time or make it more efficient. Now, it is worth noting that there are times where the Pelican can get so damaged that it will bug out and leave the first time someone steps in it. So if you're doing that, make sure whoever has the samples is getting in first. Many guns have something that you can fidget with or change about them. This was notorious with the railgun that had a safe and unsafe mode, and most of the community didn't know about the unsafe mode. If you hold down the reload button on your gun, whether it be your stratagem gun, your primary gun, whatever it may be, you should get a menu that will let you change potentially the firing rate or things like the scope. Here's some community-based tips that might change. So this is my attempt at explaining things that the community does right now that might change due to memes or other things. So beware, these are subject to change. It is customary for people to throw down a stratagem on the Pelican before you leave. If you see someone throwing down a 500 kg, that means they're telling you it's time to get on now, or you're going to perish. Also, if the extract is not particularly bad and there's some room to breathe, it is customary that everyone will hug each other before they leave because the community loves the hug emote. Speaking of emotes, it is customary to do the hug emote when you're dropping a 500 kg because it looks awesome, and if you're doing the raise the flag mission, it is customary to salute or hug the flag because local urban legend is it makes it go faster. Now you should know this one from your tip screen or from experience, but friendly fire is on in this game. So if you've never played a game like this, know that your bullets will take out your allies and it will do it with extreme prejudice. So watch where you're aiming and don't shoot at enemies that are right on top of other people, especially if you're using something like the flamethrower or the breaker incinerary where you're going to catch them in the fire and take them out regardless. This one's a little bit harder to explain, so I'm going to do my best. This game is unlike many other games, and one of those unlike any other game features is death is not necessarily a bad thing. Yes, you don't want to die all the time. Yes, you don't want to waste your reinforcement budget. But if you spend a life to take out like a primary objective or something that's completely wrecking your team, that's not a bad thing. But if you're using, say, a call-in in your hell pod to take out a stratagem jammer that allows the rest of your party to call in everything that they need to prevent themselves from dying, one reinforcement budget is a whole lot better than spending 5 or 6 trying to take that thing out, even if it means that you die again. This one's for my PlayStation players, but it does apply to the whole community, so I'll give it to everyone, and that is that your mic is almost always on by default. That means if you're playing on PlayStation especially, we can hear you through your controller and it is terrible. Make sure you go into the options and turn on push to talk and bind your push to talk key to something that you can remember. The stratagem codes never change. I know there are some theories about it constantly changing or it being hard to remember, but they're always static the same. If you're calling in a laser cannon on mission 1, it will be the same on mission 500. That means that you can spend some time memorizing the calling codes, and that makes you slightly better and slightly faster. On the topic of calling codes, you can actually call in while you're moving if you put your hands on the controller just right, and you can also change options on keyboard to be able to call in while you're moving as well. Make sure you do that because if you're standing still, you're dead. Also in the options, there is a sound mode called Midnight Mode. You'll want to turn this on. What it does is it turns up the really quiet sounds, which helps to prevent monsters from sneaking up on you and you getting surprised. Not every gun's scope is good. In particular, the marksman rifles and the anti-material rifle have a glitch where the scope doesn't exactly line up to where it's actually shooting. This means that you're not going to be 100% accurate using that scope until you kind of learn the quirks of that scope. So spend some time figuring out exactly where those dead center shots are because headshots count for more. Tip number whatever we're on, learn to dive. Diving is super helpful. It puts the fire out immediately. If you catch on fire, if you immediately dive, it will stop the damage from the fire, as well as it will prevent explosive damage or at least mitigate it by a large amount, and it makes you harder to hit. Diving more will make you last longer. This game is not pay to win, but there is content you can buy in the form of war bonds. If you're a new player, there's about 4 right now with a 5th one on the way. You may not know what to get, and certain war bonds do have better things than others. If you need to know more about that, consider checking out my video in regards to that. This one's a big one, and I kind of wish I would have put this tip at the beginning, but here we are. Violence is not always the answer. Unlike other video games where you get experience for taking out mass swaths of enemies or you get some sort of benefit from it, fighting is not always what you want to do in these situations. The more you fight, the more you burn resources, and the enemies will spawn an unlimited amount. In fact, as you progress in the mission, more enemies will spawn, making it even harder to play. This means that, contrary to popular belief of you need to fight everything, kill every enemy, that's not the play here. Instead, you need to plan your fights out and make sure that you know when to retreat, when to run away, or when to regroup somewhere else. Some side objectives are more important than others. It's important to learn which ones you need to do right away and which ones can be ignored. For example, stratagem jammers near primary objectives or stalker lairs are a high priority. You need to take those out immediately, as well as like aircraft towers. Whereas things like SEAF artillery or the anti-air guns aren't quite as important for you to do, and they can wait until you finish whatever you're doing or wait until there's a break in the action for you to be able to do it safely. In order to liberate a planet, you actually have to finish a campaign. What that means is the 3 missions that are grouped together, you need to complete all 3 of those in a row to actually contribute fully to the end screen liberation of a planet. If you want to see those numbers go up and see that you're contributing, you gotta do all 3 of those missions in a row. Teams share personal orders, so if you have a personal order, say, for using a flamethrower, you don't necessarily have to use the flamethrower. If someone on your team is using it, you'll get credit for it as well. I've got one last tip for you before I do that. As always, I have to say, like, subscribe, all that. It does help me out greatly. But, final tip. Experiment with the game. A lot of people take this game very seriously, and they try and say, okay, you have to have the meta build, you have to use the best items, you have to do all the best stuff, and you can only use these 3 items that are the best. That's not true for everyone. and that's not always fun. Instead of going with meta builds, play around, find what you like. Some people like light armor. I personally love the light armor, but other people like the heavy armor, the feeling of being a tank and taking less damage. Different guns are definitely viable, even if they're not per se the best, they are still usable. So play around with it. Find what works for you, find the playstyle you like, and enjoy it. Don't take it too seriously. After all, it's a game for fun. Have a blessed day.